that the bill entitled Population and Development be committed to the Gender and Health Committee. Joint. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the motion. Thank you.
Woolley, a select committee on gender, children, and social welfare, and what? And health. Am I right? All us. It has been moved and seconded that the bill entitled National Population Bill 2024 be committed to a joint committee of the Select Committee on Gender, Children, and Social Welfare and the Health. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. The bill is hereby committed to the Joint Committee of Gender, Children, and Social Welfare and the Health Committee for scrutiny and the report back. Clerk, can we proceed?
Laying of papers and report. The report of the Gambian delegation to the third ordinary session of the 6th Parliament of the Pan-African Parliament in Midrand, Johannesburg, Republic of South Africa, for the period 18 June to 15 July 2024 by Honorable Suebu Ture, member of the delegation.
Thank you very much, Clerk. May I now invite the Right Honorable Member for Woolly East, Honorable Suebu Ture. Honorable, I will also, your document is bulky.
Yeah.
I hope you will make a summary.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as you said, the report is very bulky, even though the items in the report are very important. But all the same, I would still endeavor to summarize it. Honorable Speaker, the third ordinary session of the 6th Parliament, 21st June to 5th July 2024, was centered on the African Union theme for 2024, which is to educate an African fit for the 21st century, building resilient education systems for increased access to inclusive, lifelong, quality, and relevant learning in Africa. That is the theme for the African Union for 2024. And this particular session was centered on that. As you know, as I've also said, we have come up with several resolutions on different issues. One is, if you look at the table of contents, resolution on the African Union theme of the year 2024, that is Educate an African, which I have already said. 2, resolution on adoption of the model law on cooperatives in Africa. 3, resolution on the legal and policy framework paper on the draft model law on gender equality and equity in Africa. 4, resolution on challenges to effective implementation of decisions of the African Union governance and human rights bodies. 5, resolution on abolition of the death penalty in Africa. 6, resolution on the consideration of the performance report of the Pan-African Parliament. 7, resolution on the Gambian bill aimed at reversing the ban on female genital mutilation. 8, resolution on advancing free movement in Africa. 9, resolution on advocacy for ratification and domestication of Malabo Protocol and other African Union legal instruments. 10, resolution on funding of the regional caucuses of the Pan-African Parliament. 11, resolution on outcomes of the 14th Parliamentary Conference on Women's Rights. And 12, resolution on drug and substantive abuse as an impediment to inclusive, lifelong, quality, and relevant learning in Africa. These were the topics that were dealt with at the session. And as I said, Honorable Speaker, I will center my report on the theme of the African Union, which was dealt with extensively during this session. And that is, we can go to page 3. The Pan-African Parliament, considering Article 17 of the Constitutive Act of the African Union.
Honorable Member,
Yes.
Yeah. Why don't you help us also with the recommendations?
Well, I will go to the recommendations.
You come to them.
I'll go straight to the recommendations.
Yes, so that I thought you were highlighting. You just highlighted the resolutions.
Yes, but I want the debate to be centered on the theme. On the theme, yes. On the theme, Educate an African, fit for the 21st century. Concerning Article 17 of the Constitutive Act of the African Union establishing the Pan-African Parliament, to ensure the full participation of the African people in the development and economic integration of the continent. Concerning also Article 3 of the Protocol on the Treaty establishing the African Economic Community relating to the Pan-African Parliament and Rule 4A of the Rules of Procedure of the Pan-African Parliament. Recalling Assembly AU December 864 of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government designating education as the African Union theme of the year 2024. Recalling Aspiration 1 of the African Union Agenda 2063, which envisages a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development. And Goal 2, which envisions a continent where the African people shall be well educated and highly skilled, with science, technology, and innovation being the bedrock of its inclusive educational systems. Recalling also Sustainable Development Goal 4, which requires member states to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Recalling further the Continental Education Strategy for Africa, CESA 2016 to 2025, which aims to reorient Africa's education and training to meet the knowledge, skills, innovation, and creativity required to nurture African core values and promote sustainable development at all levels to achieve the Africa we want. So, Honorable Speaker, the Assembly went further in page 4 to resolve. And we therefore resolved on page 5, 1, undertake robust awareness creation and advocacy within our member parliaments and speakers forum on implementation of the CESA and the education-related targets of AU Agenda 2063, as well as Sustainable Development Goal 4, and so inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. 2, participate in evaluation of the CESA and in the development of the successor strategy post-2025. 3, advocate for the allocation of adequate national budgets comprising not less than 1% of GDP to finance education, science, technology, and innovation, which is very important. 4, contribute to the development and implementation of continental policy frameworks on teacher development, learning assessment, and higher education in partnership with the ESTI Department of the AU Commission and other stakeholders. 5, support policies for strong intra-Africa cooperation and networking between parliamentarians, policy makers, scientists, journalists, and the private sector in advancing education, science, technology, innovation in Africa. 6, support legislative actions for dynamic and sustainable research enterprise capable of translating scientific discoveries into products, services, and processes that are required for socio-economic development. 7, advocate for transformation of the entire education system and learning in mother tongue on the continent, while paying special attention to marginalized groups, including girls, children in rural areas, persons with disabilities, migrants, and internally displaced communities, as well as those in fragile countries and contexts, and report back at every consecutive session of the PAP on progress made and challenges faced. 8, regularly request and consider the reports and or updates on the African Union Commission, AUDA, and NEPAD, regional economic communities, member states, and other stakeholders on the implementation of the CSSA and the education-related targets of AU Agenda 2063, as well as Sustainable Development Goal 4. Honorable Speaker, I want to go to the recommendations made also on page 36. On page 36, that's why we have our recommendations. Recommendations on educate an African fit for the 21st century, building resilient education systems for increased access to inclusive, lifelong, quality, and relevant learning in Africa. The Pan-African Parliament, concerning Article 17 of the Constitutive Act of the African Union, establishing the African Parliament to ensure the full participation of the African people in the development and economic integration of the continent. Concerning also Article 3 of the Protocol on the Treaty, establishing the African Economic Community relating to the Pan-African Parliament, and Rule 4A of the Rules of Procedure of the Pan-African Parliament, which empower the PAP to facilitate regional cooperation, development, and promotion of collective self-reliance and economic recovery, as well as the implementation of the policies, objectives, and programs of the African Union. If you go further, Honorable Speaker, on page 37, that's where we have recommended the following. 1, that the African Union Commission, Department on Education, Science, Technology, and Innovation, ESTI, to 1, partner with the Pan-African Parliament, specifically the Committee on Education, Tourism, Culture, and Human Resources, the member states, and other stakeholders to create awareness and advocate for sustained implementation of the Continental Education Strategy for Africa 2016 to 2025, and the education-related targets of AU Agenda 2063, as well as Sustainable Development Goal 4. 2, launch and operationalize the African Education, Science, and Technology Innovation Fund, AESTIF, as a blended financing mechanism for education in Africa. 3, in collaboration with the member states, develop continental policy frameworks on teacher development, learning assessment, and higher education. 4, encourage and support the member states for implementation of learning in local African languages from early stage. 5, organize forums for peer-to-peer learning on teacher development, including the implementation of Continental Teacher Award. And 6, develop toolkits for improved science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM, education and teaching standards and collaborate with the member states to ensure their implementation at all levels. Honorable Speaker, to the African Union member states, that's the recommendation to them. One, they should own the vision and take measures to implement the Continental Education Strategy for Africa 2016-2025 and the education-related targets of AU Agenda 2063, as well as Sustainable Development Goal 4. Two, they should place equity at the heart of education policy to ensure that all children and youth on the continent have access to quality education. Three, they should ensure the use of African languages at all levels of education and learning. And four, they should allocate adequate budgets comprising not less than 1% of GDP towards teacher recruitment and training, development of school infrastructure, acquisition of learning resources, and five, they should enact policy and legislative frameworks to facilitate competency-based education and training. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I would urge all members to read the rest of the report, which is very comprehensive and very important for anything that we are doing here or outside, so that you'll be able to own the report and be able to act on it in your own way to bring about the desired objectives in this report. On that note, I thank you for the time and thank all the members for their listening.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Woolly East. Honorable members, any seconder? Honorable Member for Punyi Bintankaranai.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I gladly rise to second the motion strongly and also want to take part in the debate as it goes. To start with, to thank the Gambia delegates that we sent to the Pan-African Parliament for constantly coming and report back to the Parliament. That is something which is very good and definitely appreciated. So even if we are not there, but if you are there for us, then we are comfortable. That is truly appreciated. Looking at the resolution and the recommendation from the third ordinary session of the 6th Pan-African Parliament undertaking, the recommendation among them is going direct to page 2, resolution on advocates free movement in Africa. And these ones are necessary because if you go to Europe, within Europe itself, there is free movement. And there is a need for us to have free movement if we want to say we are one people. In the absence of free movement, then we are finished. Then we cannot unite. If I am preventing Guineans from coming to the Gambia, if I am preventing Senegalese from coming to the Gambia, then we are not the same people. Then we cannot unite, and then we cannot also have what we want. Africans are the only people who have their leg pegs in Africa, and they cannot move within African continent, and in moving to Europe also becomes a challenge. Honorable Speaker, going further to page 5, advocate for the allocation of adequate national budget comprising not less than 1% of GDP to finance education, science, and technology. You see, Honorable Speaker, this is what I have always been telling this Parliament. That education is the bedrock. Education is the foundation. Once you educate the people, you have given them the opportunity to stand on a fitting platform to defend their right, to also acquire the wealth that is necessary for their development. I wonder many times, how do we want to develop the nation in the absence of education? Page 5 still on 4. Contribute to the development and implementation of continental policy framework on teacher development, learning, essential and higher education in participation with the...
Honorable, is it page 5 of the resolutions or page 5 of the report?
Page 5 of the report.
Of the report?
Yes. Number 3. Number 4. Contribute to the development and implementation of continental policy framework on teacher development. Now, teacher development cannot be achieved if we are not concentrating more on the teachers' welfare as well. So for us to move, resolution, Honorable Speaker, resolution. For us to move as a country or as a continent, we must value the teachers and we must look at the teachers and we must promote them. Number 7 on the same page, advocate for transformation of the entire education system. And this is a challenge in the Gambia as per se. We need to transform in our education system and also introduce our mother tongue, because you have taken time, a lot of time, to teach the guy that this is donkey. Already the individual know that this is donkey in the Mandinka language. So in essence, you don't need to teach that individual that this is donkey. Already the individual know that. Therein, you are going to teach something different. But you need to teach the tongue of the white man and translate it to the local language. That becomes a barrier and a challenge for us. This is why we could not excel like the other continent. We're using a borrowed language, and this borrowed language, we are never fitting it. So that is the challenge. So we must appreciate our own self. Once we appreciate ourselves, then we will know of our value, and we will know how to progress as a nation and as a continent. Honorable Speaker, moving direct to page 36 of recommendations. Considering Article 17 of the Constituted Act of the African Union, established the Pan-African Parliament to ensure the full participation of the African people in the development and economic integration of the continent. We cannot attain full self-sufficiency without appreciating ourselves, without knowing what we want, with relying on the West. At this point in time, we must always also learn to rely on ourselves. I said it here, and the member for Lower Salem misquoted me. I said the aids have never developed Africa. Read Dambisa Moyo. Dambisa Moyo, she is from Zambia. She said the aid they are giving us, they end up embezzling them, and this aid also bring corruption, attract corruption into our system. So for us to develop, we must abstain. All the countries that were sanctioned in Africa have developed. Take example of Libya, for instance. When they were sanctioned, that's the time they developed. Burkina Faso, for instance, when Thomas Sankara took over, they were sanctioned, and that's the time they developed. So if we want to develop, we must walk away from the West, because they are trapping us with ceilings, with grants, which they have to condition us. Yesterday, the IDP, in fact, spoke about that. Honorable Speaker, going to consideration, cooperation, development, and promotion of collective self-reliance. You see, that is exactly what he's talking about, that we must rely on ourselves. That if you want to rely on someone, you will never be yourself. Honorable Speaker, not intending to waste the time of the Parliament, but these are the few points that I also want to contribute, and also thank the people so much for representing us, and thank the Pan-African Parliament for being there for Africans. And I pray that Pan-African Parliament lasts forever. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Fonyi Bintang Karanai. Honorable members, I now put the question. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do consider the report of the Gambian delegation to the third ordinary session of the 6th Parliament of the Pan-African Parliament in Midrand, Johannesburg, Republic of South Africa, from the 18th of June to the 15th of July, 2024. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Honorable members, the floor will now be open. Any honorable member who wishes to partake in the debate may now do so. I now invite the honorable member for Banjul South.
I withdraw.
Withdrawn. Honorable member for Janjambure.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and thank you very much, the head of delegate to the Pan-African Parliament and your entire team. I think we are grateful that you represented us, as my colleague alluded. Notwithstanding, I think it will be also important to remind the membership of the Pan-African Parliament through the head of the delegates to also understand the issues that Africans are affected with. I think just today or this week, the entire Africa are gathered in the United States of America in order to partake or to take part in the UN General Assembly, when Africa or Africans are not really represented in the UN General Assembly. And this is where decisions are made. And if we are to do anything that is right, I think that's where we should start with. You look at the UN General Assembly, we don't have the veto power. As a continent, we don't really have any decision that we can influence before the world leaders. So for me, I want to tax the Pan-African Parliament to really look into that, where in Africa can have the veto powers in order to influence decision at the highest representation. Coming to the AU, in fact, before coming there, let me refer this House to the resolutions, that is Resolution 9, and on page 26, which talks about the Malabo protocols. And if you look at it on Article 17 of the Consecutive Act of the African Union establishing the Pan-African Parliament to ensure full participation of the African people in the development and economic integration of the continent. I think we're forgetting the fact that our economy is being controlled by the West. The West, in a sense, even our currencies are printed out there. The way we take loans from the World Bank are always dictated by those that we claim to be our leaders as Africans, when in reality, they don't really represent any cause. I think in order to achieve the economic integrations, it will be indeed very important to come up with a currency that will represent the face of Africa and that will be printed in Africa and that will be decided by African leaders. Let's look at the composition of the African Union by itself. It is based on rotations. There is nothing democratic about it. And I would challenge the Pan-African Parliament to also look into this. If we are asking state presidents to go out there for elections, what is wrong with us in challenging the African Union in identifying their leaders to make it more of democratic than that rotational basis wherein people will put in Western puppets to represent Africans. And as such, we continue to dance to the tune of the West. So until we are able to change those dynamics, I believe we can definitely achieve the Malabo protocols. It is only in the African continent where you become a foreigner or an alien. We're talking about integration. We're talking about free movement of people. Are we really free? We're not. If you want to travel to Senegal here, our neighbors, the moment you reach at the border, you realize that you are not really free to enter in that country without going through certain protocols. And we are saying we're Africans. What about our African brothers in the diaspora who were migrated from their own land here because of what we call slave trade? They are somewhere today. They don't know where they belong to. They want to come back home where they feel is home. We are not also giving them the chance. So for me, the Pan-African Parliament should be looking at some of these things. How do we integrate some of these people who feel they're not really given the space to live in Africa to be also accommodated and also bringing what they had in the West back to where they think is their home and invest. And with that, I believe we can definitely boost our economies. We can also open our borders, not just for Africans. I wish to take my seat, Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Janjambure. And I invite the Honorable Member for Upper Flood West.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. First of all, I would like to thank um, the, the chairman and those people representing us at the Pan-African Parliament. Uh, the report, though, is a marathon report, but the report is very, very rich because it entails so many things concerning about Africa and the world in general. So first of all, I would definitely like to thank them. And this is not the first report before Parliament. Anytime when they go, to attend session in South Africa, when they are back in the country, they always report to Parliament. And then the journey is very, very tedious, it's very, very hectic, and then very, very risky. And then representing the Gambia there is something that we have to cherish. So therefore, we thank them so much for all the efforts that they have put in place to make sure that the flag of the Gambia is raised to the higher heights. Honorable Speaker, looking at the team this year, that is under the African Union team for 2024, educate an African fit for the 21st century, building resilient education system for increased access to inclusive, lifelong quality and relevant learning in Africa. I think just as alluded by the Honorable Member for Foni Bintang Karanai, I think education is the cornerstone of everything. Education is very, very paramount to life. You cannot build a nation when the people are not educated. If you want to build your nation, the people in charge, they must be educated. And then education is very, very important. So like putting more emphasis on education, I think is very, very important. So I think every government in Africa should make sure that the citizens are well educated. When we are educated, there are certain things that are happening in our countries may not happen. So I think education is very, very, very important. And coming to resolutions, like I just want to center my discussion on only few areas. That is one, resolution on drugs and substance abuse. I think this component is very, very important. We all know what is happening in Africa. Most of our youths, they have engaged themselves into this drug abuse. And we all know, if you see most of our youths, they are mentally imbalanced. Some of them, they started schooling, they could not complete it simply because of this drug abuse. So drug is something that is a cankerworm which has definitely destroyed our society. So coming up with measures whereby this drug related issues can be combated in Africa is something that is very, very important. And another thing also, that is resolution on advancing free movement in Africa. Well, I think this is just written on black and white, but I don't think whether these are realities on the ground. Because if you look at Africa, for example, like if I want to leave Gambia, I want to travel to any African countries, because this is what we believe, there should be free movement of goods and services. But in reality, it's not happening. Even our African brothers and sisters, those who are living in America, those who are living in Europe, like if they want to leave from one European country to another European country, they find it very easier than we who are living in Africa. We want to leave our country to go to another African country. We find it very, very difficult. And yet still, we are saying there should be free movement of goods and services. So what I want to put across here, maybe your next session, if you return to South Africa, you can put it to them that this is just on black and white, but these are not things that are really happening on the ground. So I think, governments, head of states in Africa should be aware that these are things that they have said, but in actuality, it is not happening, because we all have seen, even in the Gambia here, some people like other nationals, if they want to enter to this country, sometimes they face challenges at the borders. Even the ECOWAS ID card is no more honored by African countries. And we said, when you have the ECOWAS ID, there should be that free movement. But it's not happening. If you are a Gambian, you want to go to any other African countries, before you pass their border, you must pay. And Another African, for example, you want to come to the Gambia, it's the same thing. So I think the narrative have to change. If it doesn't change, saying free movement of goods and services in Africa, that's not the case. What I just want to put across is like, if you go to Pan-African Parliament, tell them that these things are written on black and white, but in actuality, it's not happening in any African country whereby people can move freely, without any hindrance at their borders. So without taking much of your time, I think the team, Honorable Mbow, the chairman, and his lieutenants, you have done a great job in South Africa, and then you represented Gambia, and then this is what we expect from you. We thank you so much for all your effort, for all your time, the risky journey, every 3-4 months going to South Africa, coming to the Gambia, very, very risky. So we thank you so much. And then all the time, may God protect you wherever you leave this country, to anywhere you go. Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Upper Flood West. I now invite the Honorable Member for Central Badibu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you, the mover of the motion. Honorable Speaker, I didn't want to participate much, but when my colleague spoke, I'm really moved. Pan-African Parliament is a continental parliament, but it's more of a toothless bullock, because a parliament that cannot fully legislate, for the people of this continent is really sad. But this is all due to ratification of a Malabo Protocol, the famous Malabo Protocol. So it's only 16 countries that has, ratified the protocol. So parliamentary, the Pan-African Parliament cannot really act to make laws for this continent, which is very sad, because we all know that parliaments, they can make and unmake laws. So that's the challenge that we face at Pan-African Parliament. And this year's theme, Educate an African Fit for 21st Century. Now, Africa must try to revisit its own educational system. Because when we say an African fit for 21st century, it should not be based on only academic performance. But this has to do with skills. This has to deal with our traditional way of gaining skills and knowledge. For us to be able to feed our own self, we should not only depend on merits in performance, but we need to acquire skills that can be able to move the continent to another level in terms of technology, in terms of agricultural advancement, and things like food security. So, but our continent is only dependent, as others said, only on the West to sponsor them, to give them funds. How many funds are coming from the West in the name of advancing agriculture? At the end of the day, they all fail. So the continent, are we ready to bear the burden? Are we ready to foot the bill for ourselves? So coming to our contributions, AU at Addis Ababa is still controlling the Pan-African Parliament. Pan-African Parliament is not financially autonomous. We cannot in fact run our sessions because Addis will ration. They will give us whatever they want. They have ceilings for everything. So are we ready as a continent? What do our ambassadors do in Addis Ababa? It's high time we speak in this parliament for them to understand that they have to support, they have to speak for the Africans. Honorable Speaker, coming to Africans in diaspora. Now, Africans in diaspora are part of this continent. One way or the other, our relationship was broken. People from this continent were taken unlawfully into slavery. So they happen to see themselves in a land that they don't wish. So if those people are willing to come back to this continent, I think chance should be given. We must try to support, we must try to collaborate, to see to it that we start accepting them as part of this continent. Integration is very, very key. Every government on the continent of Africa must be willing to accommodate. We must revisit our laws, to look at the citizenship. 15 years citizenship is too much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, coming to model law, as the mover said, there are a lot of resolutions developed at the Pan-African Parliament, which are very, very good resolutions. Now, model laws on food security. We all know that food security is highly needed in the continent, because once we don't have food, all the other projects will fail. The reason why I can be able to talk here, because in the morning I had good cassava with beans. That gives me energy to speak in the parliament. So, but how many of our people have this opportunity to eat what they grow? So we must act as Africans. We must try to know that it's only agriculture that can emancipate this continent. Honorable members, we must be ready to act now. Talking will not solve. Africans must realize action. 21st century should be a century of action. We must see change, because we use taxpayers' money to go to Midland, all the countries except those under ban. So we must be ready. And Honorable Speaker, last but not the least, and governments, good governance in Africa. This is what I say. We need to decide whether we call ourselves Democrat or we go for our traditional system. Because we have a lot of insecurity in the continent. Military takeovers are common. Governments are not stable because we don't have a system in place. We carbon copy or photocopy from others. At the end of the day, we cannot be who they are. So it's high time we sit down and make a reflection. What type of governance do we want as Africans? But once we want to follow democracy, we must accept the principle of democracy. If not, let's go our traditional system. Let Fonyi be what they want to be. Let Badibu be what they want to be. Maybe those people could be called as council of elders at point in time. They meet and decide on the country. But once we want to be democratic, we want to have a representation. Leaders must be accountable to the people. Leaders must know that they have a period to rule people. You cannot rule us forever. Time limit must be respected by Africa. So this is the problem. Because we don't have time limit. People want to rule forever, abusing people. So there must be armed revolutions all over. If you want to make sure that there is peace in the continent, the leaders must know what they do, they must respect time, and they must give people what they need. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Central Badibu. And I invite the Honorable Member for Sami.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Thank you very much, our Pan-African Parliament delegation. Thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, the report is bulky, but it is very rich because it's talking about Africa. Honorable Speaker, the theme is Educate an African Fit for 21st Century, Building Resilient Education System for Increased Access to Inclusive, Lifelong, Quality, and Relevant Learning in Africa. Honorable Speaker, education is the key to success. It's the key to success. So therefore, Africans must take education seriously if we want to move forward. Education is very, very, very important. It's not only, Honorable Speaker, it's not only putting more funds on education. It's not only that. We have to utilize those funds wisely. Just look at our education system, Honorable Speaker. For how many years now, if there is no textbook from grade 1 up to grade 6, no textbooks. And we said, place. And the people who are putting those things, those education into the children, they also must be encouraged so that they can do what is expected of them. Honorable Speaker, when we look at the report, page 5, number 7, education system and learning in our mother tongue. Honorable Speaker, it is important for now we try our kids to learn some of these areas, some of these subjects in our own local language, so that they can perform very well. Because maybe there are language barriers. This is why some students cannot perform very well. But if we try and look at those areas and try to explain it in our own mother tongue, the children will be able to understand it very well. So on that note, I just want to thank the delegation for ably representing the Gambia. So thank you very much for giving me the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Same. I now invite the Honorable Member for Kiang West.
Honorable Speaker, I've withdrawn. I think I need more energy for adjournment debate.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Kiang West. Honorable members, I will now invite the mover of the motion to respond to issues raised and one of the debate.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I thank all the members, more so members who have participated in the debate. I think the importance that is given to the team on education is well taken by this body, this assembly. And I think we should continue to honor it to ensure that the recommendations that are put here, even if we cannot adopt all, but we should be able to adopt some. The 1%, the PAP is recommending for only 1% of GDP to be put into education. They believe that if that is done, it will take us far. But other comments have also been made. For example, self-reliance that is being mentioned by Fuoni Bintang is very important. We must learn to run our countries on our own. We must learn to manage our resources on our own. The scarce resources that we have, be able to plan them well, execute them, so that we gain the best that we can gain from them, rather than trying to depend on others. It will not work. And he also spoke about heritages. We must appreciate our heritages. There are questions in this house about our heritages from Opanyoni. If we forget about the heritages, we forget about our history. Know that those heritages, by the time they were coming, there were no writings. But Africa was able to find out about their history through those heritages. When you go to Egypt, they've destroyed all the writing. Egypt used to be writing, but they destroyed all the writing when the Arabs came there. And when the Europeans also came, they destroyed all our evidence in writing. But one thing they could not destroy is the evidence, heritages that are under the ground. The pharaohs, they put all those pyramids. When you open them, you find black people there. They were the kings. But we've lost that. We thought that the kings in Egypt were white. But it's because of the heritages investigation on that, we discovered that, in fact, they were African people that were in Egypt. So they are very important, what he said. Honorable Speaker, Jan Jambure was suggesting a common currency. I think is in the offing, as the member for Central Badibu has said. Malabo Protocol is the key to African unification. It's the key to the transformation of Africa. And many countries are still struggling. They are pushing back. When you go and talk about African unity, they will say, yes, African unity. But when you take something concrete to them, then they will start talking, they start bringing excuses. Just go to South Africa. Whenever their members speak in parliament about a common currency or a continental bank, there are pushbacks. So these are very important comments. Opa Pladu, free movement. Yes, I think the member for Central Baribu has already addressed that. The key to free movement, why it is not working, is because of the Malabo Protocol. And I think Gambia has ratified it. We are done with it. But there are countries that consider themselves big. There is a lot of xenophobic attitude in those countries. Their behaviors are contrary to what we are thinking. They are refusing to sign it. And what the PAP is saying is that we do a lot of sensitization, we do a lot of advocacy to ensure that those countries also sign, so that we'll have the Malabo Protocol in place, so that these good ideas that we are talking about will come to. Yes, the Central Baribu has spoken about bulldog as the PAP is a bulldog. To some extent, it is a bulldog. But if we are positive about it, like we are in this parliament, every report that we have, we bring it here. Every report, we debate it. And we all, put our minds to it to ensure that we, adhere to some of those ideas in our own small way and implement them in our constituencies. That was a time when we came with the issue of agriculture. And I was speaking here, I said the Central Body member is putting that into practice. He's very much into agriculture. So we can all do that in our constituencies, especially those who are from provincial constituencies. We can all, in one way or the other, support agriculture in your own way, in your own ideas, and that will promote agriculture in Africa. Yes, for Sami, he's talking about the mother tongue. He emphasized that on the mother tongue, and I'm very much with him, 100%. If you go to these theater garages, they are learning theatering, mechanics in their languages. You go to the garage and you ask them about any tool in Wolof, they'll be able to tell you this is this, this is this. But if you want to teach them in English, the names of those, it will take them years. And we have some who are going up to university. If you tell them in mechanics, and they have studied mechanics in university, and you say, open this machine, this engine, and put it back, they will not be able to do that. But these young people who go to the garages and they learn the mechanics, by the time they are 20 years, when you tell them open the machine, they'll be able to open all the machine and put it back, fit it back, and then they'll put it on, it will go. That's mechanics. So we should encourage learning in our mother tongue, and that's what the PAP is also resolving. Yes. I think, Honorable Speaker, these are some of the comments that they have made, and I commend them for all the good comments that they have done. And we thank you equally for supporting the trip and supporting the PAP in whatever endeavors they are in. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mover of the motion. And let me thank those who participated. Honorable members, I now put the question: be resolved that this Honorable Assembly do adopt the report of the Gambian delegation to the third ordinary session of the 6th Parliament of the Pan-African Parliament in Midrand, Johannesburg, Republic of South Africa, from 18th June to 15th July 2024. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. So let me thank all of you, those, the mover of the motion and those who participated, and even honorable members who listened. We thank you all. Clerk, we may proceed.
Orders 13.5 and 51.4, motion on the adjournment debate. Be it resolved that this August Assembly do stand adjourned, signed.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, in accordance with provisions of Order 13.5 and 54.1 of the standing orders, the Honorable Deputy Majority Leader and member for Old Yundum will move a motion for the Assembly to adjourn Sindai. Before allowing him to do so, I wish to withdraw the attention of the Assembly to Order 54.3 of the Standing Orders, which reads, and I quote, during the debate on the motion, on the adjournment debate of a session, no honorable member shall speak more than 15 minutes, except that the Speaker may, at his or her discretion, allow the mover of the motion extra time for his or her reply. Due to the exigency of time, I wish to appeal to honorable members to be judicious in their interventions, as well as to avoid repetitive deliberations. Finally, honorable members, I want to remind you to take note of the relevant provisions of the standing orders regarding the adjournment debate. May I now invite the Honorable Deputy Majority Leader and member for Old Yundum to move the motion for this Assembly to adjourn Sindai. Honorable Deputy Majority Leader.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in accordance with Order 54.1 of the Standing Orders of the National Assembly, I rise to move that this August Assembly do stand adjourned sine die. In moving the motion, Honorable Speaker, I would like to give this Assembly a brief of what has transpired during the third ordinary session of the 6th Legislature in the 2024 legislative year for the period 9th of September to today, 26 September 2024. Honorable Speaker, in the course of the deliberations during this period, the Assembly considered and adopted a record of votes and proceedings of the daily sittings as required by Order 35.2 of the Standing Orders. Honorable Speaker, in light of Section 77.4 of the Constitution and this Assembly's quest to ensure greater scrutiny and accountability, this Assembly continued to thoughtfully interact with the Executive, administering oral questions and answer sessions with honorable ministers as it concerns their respective portfolios, departments, and agencies. His Excellency the Vice President and honorable ministers appeared before the Assembly to answer orally to questions asked by honorable members. Honorable Speaker, I note and commend the appearance of His Excellency the Vice President and the following honorable ministers: Lands and Regional Government, Foreign Affairs, International Cooperations and Gambians Abroad, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Finance and Economic Affairs, Youth and Sports, Petroleum and Energy, Transport, Works and Infrastructure, Fisheries and Water Resources, Tourism and Culture, Trade, Industry and Regional Integration, Defense, Agriculture, Environment and Climate Change and Natural Resources, and Interior. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, on Minister's reply, Order 100 of the Standing Orders, the following honorable ministers delivered their statements replying to undermentioned reports adopted by plenary during the previous session of the Assembly. Ministers reply to the report of the National Assembly Standing Committee on Public Enterprise, the report on the activity and audited financial statements of the state-owned enterprises for the year 31st December 2019 and 2020 by the Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs. 2. Ministers reply to the report of the National Assembly Select Committee on Trade and Regional Integration, nationwide total selected markets by the Minister for Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment. 3. Ministers reply to the report of the National Assembly Select Committee on Regional Government and Lands and Ombudsman, NIEC, on the oversight visit to offices of regional governors, area and municipal councils, Ombudsman and IEC, the Minister for Lands and Regional Government. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, in terms of bills, this August Assembly convened to continue the consideration and legislative passage of bills currently under its purview. Honorable Speaker, in this same vein, this August Assembly witnessed the tabling, consideration, and adoption of the following motions. Be it resolved that this August Assembly do consider and ratify the deployment of troops to contribute to the ECOWAS stabilization mission in Sierra Leone by His Excellency the Vice President. Be it resolved that this August Assembly do consider and ratify the mutual visa exemption agreement for diplomatic and service passport holders between the Republic of the Gambia and the Republic of Indonesia by the Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation, and Gambians abroad. Be it resolved that this August Assembly do consider and ratify the mutual visa exemption agreement for diplomatic passport holders between the Republic of the Gambia and the Republic of Azerbaijan by the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation, and Gambians abroad. Be it resolved that this August Assembly do consider and ratify the agreement between the Republic of the Gambia and the West African Football Union, Zone A, WAFU, on the establishment of WAFU headquarters in the Gambia by the Minister for Youth and Sports. Be it resolved that this August Assembly do consider and ratify the manpower agreement between the government of the Gambia and Saudi Arabia and UAE by the Honorable Minister for Trade, Regional Integration and Employment. Be it resolved that this August Assembly do consider and confirm the replacement and appointment of members of the Armed Forces Council tabled by the Minister for Defense. Honorable Speaker, the following reports of the undermentioned parliamentary committees and delegations were considered and adopted. Report of the Select Committee on Trade and Regional Integration to the Senegalese Parliament on trade facilitation of the committee. Report of the Standing Committee on Public Enterprise to the Parliament of Botswana for the period 23rd to the 27th of October 2023 by the chairperson of the committee. The resolution on the report of the National Assembly Petition Committee on the petition from concerned staff of the Gambia Tourism Board by the chairperson of the Petitions Committee. Report of the Gambia delegation to the third ordinary session of the 6th Parliament of the Pan-African Parliament in Midrand, Johannesburg, Republic of South Africa, from 18th of June to the 15th of July, 2024, by the honorable member of the delegation. The report of the National Assembly Select Committee on Agriculture visit to SECOS across the country from April 30th to the 6th of May 2024 by the chairperson of the committee. Looking ahead, our legislative agenda remains ambitious. We will continue to prioritize our legislative business, ensuring that we address the most pressing challenges facing our country. I would also like to acknowledge the concern raised by members during this session. Healthy debate and constructive criticism are the cornerstone of our democracy. We will consider these viewpoints carefully as we move forward. As we adjourn, let us remember that our work does not end here. We have a responsibility to our constituents to ensure striving for a better future, or to continue striving for a better future. I urge all honorable members to return to their constituencies, listen to the voice of the people, and come back refreshed and ready to tackle the challenges that lies ahead. I must challenge us all, individually and collectively as an assembly, to reflect on the need for stronger commitment and dedication to the principal function of this legislature. We must remind ourselves that notwithstanding the diverse and sometimes cumbersome engagement members are faced with, we cannot negate our core function, especially as it relates to attending sittings. This we cannot do and this we must not do because the entire nation look up to us to deliver. Honorable Speaker, thank you for the manner in which you continue to handle this assembly competently and professionally. I pray that Allah the Almighty grant you the strength and wisdom to continue steering the affairs of this assembly. I also would like to appreciate the clerk of the National Assembly, his deputies, the table office, and the entire staff of the National Assembly service for all the support and service rendered to honorable members during this session. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you all members for your continued dedication and service. I move that this assembly now adjourn sine die. Thank you.
Thank you. Any seconder? Member for Woolly East?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the motion and to come up with a motion as well on the clause 53C and D, B and C, to adjourn the assembly, sine die without debate. Yes, because Honorable Speaker, we will be speaking to ourselves and we cannot answer to ourselves. On that note, I thank you.
Yes, member for Jara Central. Honorable members, order, please, order. Yes, we have two motions. Honorable Speaker, put the question now. A motion is on the floor. Who is that? Member for Sabah Sajal, please stop that. Don't do that. No, the murmuring is too much. Stop. Don't put off your mic, please. Honorable members, it has been moved and seconded that this August Assembly do consider the motion for this ordinary session to stand adjourned sine die. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it.
I call for this, Honorable Speaker.
There is division for us to adjourn sine die. We will vote. Order, please, order. Honorable members, order, please.
Withdraw.
Don't use your mic, please. You can't use your mic if you are not given the opportunity. Don't do that. Order, please, order. Honorable members, order, as if you don't know your standing orders. Please, order. Don't call my name. Order, please. Honorable members, there are motions, and I put the questions. You voted in. And I said the ayes have it. Order said no division. What do we need to do? What? Order, please. No, I don't ask for your comment. We will follow the procedure unless they are withdrawn.
Put it up clearly. Put it clear.
Member for Same, put up your mic. No, I will not give you the floor. Please don't use your mic. No. I'm not giving you the, don't put on your mic, please. Member for Sami, don't put on your mic, please. No, I will not give them. There is an occasion that I can't give you the floor. No, no, don't address me, please. Please, honorable members, we need to understand our standing orders. No, you don't. Some of you don't understand. If you do, you will not have voted no. Order, please. Please, order. The motion moved by the deputy majority leader and seconded by the member for Woolly is. That's what we voted in. We voted on. And you, don't address me. Please. Order. Order, please. That's what we voted on for us to adjourn. And some of you people said, no, we are not adjourning. And I said, order, please. Order, order. Order, please. Order, please. Member for Sami, member for Lower Saluk and others, don't disrupt proceeding. Please. I put up a question and it was voted in, and I said the ayes have it. There was argument that there was a division. All of you had a division. Don't do that. Even a member for Lower Saluk uses his mic to say division. And I said, if there's a division, let us vote. If you want to stay here, if members want to stay here for the rest of the year, let's do that. Let's go and vote. There is division, let's vote. Now, we will ask the member who called for division if you want to withdraw.
I said I withdraw. You are not understanding your question.
Order, honorable members, order. Now, on the second motion, the member for Woolly is moved a motion for the assembly to adjourn without debate.
When the motion is moved, you put the question. Put the question for us to vote so that we can know where our stand is. The speaker should put the question now.
Member for Sabah Sanjal. Member for Sabah Sanjal, you know the standing orders. You see, maybe you, but some of your colleagues, they don't understand the procedures and processes. I have to make it clear. If you do, and you are one of those who are fond of calling for point of order because members are misbehaving, and don't do that. Now we are going to vote on the second motion. That is the assembly to adjourn without debate. Moved by the member for Woolly East. On the basis that you are debating to yourself. It is moved. Order, please. Honorable members, it is very simple. If you don't agree with the motion, vote no. Simple. If there is a division, we vote. It has been moved and seconded that this August assembly adjourn, sign, die without debate. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no.
Speaker, you cannot decide. Allow us to decide for you.
Honorable members, please, member for Olyundum, Lower Nyomi, Lower Fuladu West, please, democracy. Let's go and vote. Don't campaign now. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no.
No.
The noes have it.
Division. 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 Division.
Member for Sabasanga, I'm going to fine you $5,000. Table clerk, there is division, please. Let's count. Let's vote. Those in, yes. Yes, member follower Salom, yes.
Yes, Honorable Speaker. Before you make, Honorable Speaker, yes, before you make your ruling first.
I'm not getting you a member for Lower Salom. Lower Salom, yes.
Order, please. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, order, please.
Honorable Speaker, before you make your rulings, wait. Allow me to come, please.
Debating?
Yes, he give me the floor, yes.
No, he never gave you the floor. No.
Honorable Speaker.
He never gave you the floor.
Honorable Speaker. Yes, thank you for giving me the floor. Before you make your decision out of it, this was a debate that we have yesterday at the ABC committee. It should be scheduled on Friday. And again, we told it twice, if we schedule on Friday, it will not finish.
Honorable member.
No, I want to make my
No,
case.
no. Honorable
they said, I'm coming.
Honorable member, sit down.
No, I want to come. Let me finish.
No, sit down.
No, because the member was misleaded. I want to correct this thing before you make it. Yes, Honorable Speaker, the technocrats are here, and again, we know that. Honorable Speaker.
Honorable member, please sit down. Take your seat. Take your seat. All you know, Deputy Majority Leader and Deputy Majority Leader. The member for all you know. Member for all you know.
Point of order.
Member for all you know and Deputy Majority
Leader.
Leader.
Point of order.
Member for all you know. Member for all you know and Deputy Majority Leader. Member for all you know. All you know and Deputy Majority Leader. Member for all you know and Deputy Majority Leader. No, please. Honorable members, we are going to count the votes on the motion. Those who are in support of the motion, please raise your hand. Those not in favor of the motion, raise your tax. Those not in favor of the motion, raise your tax. Honorable members, member for Lower Salom, you people are disturbing. Those who against the motion, raise your tax. Those against the motion, raise your tax. Abstaining, raise your tax. Honorable members, the results is as follows. Ayes 18 votes, noes 14, abstention 0. Honorable members, please, proceeding is still on. Honorable members, please. Honorable members, members from Central Badibu, Sabasanja, Lower Floodwest, please order. Honorable members, this assembly is the highest institution in terms of democracy, in terms of regular practice of democracy. This is where members are expected to deliberate on issues of national importance. Members for Lower Fuladu, order, majority comes. Lower Nyomi, please order. And here, whatever decision we arrive at are done through democratic means. We resort to voting for whatever we do. And those who are in favor and those against, depending on what the majority of this parliament decides. When they decide against your motions or your wish, that doesn't mean the end of the world. It's democracy. We must respect that principle. Therefore, I wish members who walked out could not have done that, because sometimes also, because of democracy, and it's part of democracy, sometimes also they have their way. It's still democracy, yes. Please order. It is still democracy for them to walk out. It's part of parliamentary processes and procedures, so we respect that. Honorable members, I wish to thank all of you. Please order. My problem and worry is senior members, they are fond of disrupting proceedings. Both the majority and the minority side. Senior members, most of the time, they are the one disrupting parliament. You know, member for Central Badibu and member for Olyundum, you still continue to disrupt proceedings. Please, order. Honorable members, I wish to thank each and every one of you for this very long and lengthy session, ordinary session. Your contributions, as of course mentioned by the Deputy Majority Leader and member for Olyundum, it has been very insightful. Member for Lower Salom, put up your mic. It has been very insightful and thoughtful. And on that note, I want to thank all of you, of course, before putting the question for this assembly to adjourn, signed, I wish to, on behalf of both sides of the assembly, and indeed my own behalf, register our appreciation to His Excellency, the Vice President, and Honorable Ministers for the cooperation during this ordinary session. The presence of the executive to witness the adjournment, of course, there are technicians to witness the adjournment debate, unfortunately, that have not been done with debate. It's indeed commendable, and we want to thank them sincerely for that. I also wish to reiterate our thanks and appreciation to the media fraternity, our friends, as they are the medium through which the work of this assembly and its committees reaches the people. Your cooperation and partnership is always cherished, and we hope it will continue. Once again, we are indebted and grateful to the clerk and staff of the National Assembly Service for the continued and invaluable services they render to us and also members of the National Assembly. And on that note, I now put the question. Be it resolved that this August Assembly do stand adjourned, signed, die. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no.
No.
Division. The ayes have it.
Division, no.
All right, honorable members. All right, order, please. Honorable members, you know, the member for Fonyi Bintang is fond of informing this assembly that he doesn't like democracy. He said because of some time, people use democracy to abuse processes and procedures. And in this instance, that's where we find ourselves at this moment. So members of this August Assembly want to abuse their democratic right and processes and procedures of the Assembly because they know very well that we have no business to consider, and they want us to go into voting. This is a very peculiar situation. I'm not sure what authority Speaker has or discretion to rule out that, or maybe after voting. Member for Central Badibu.
Speaker, thank you very much. Speaker, yes, you are right. Democracy is existing.
No, order, honorable members, please stop that.
Honorable Speaker,
he wanted to observe, and I gave him the floor. Members, please be tolerant.
Yes, as you said, this is a rule of the parliament. Yes, a vote is put. We said no. We have all right to counter. We want to talk about issues that affects our people in this country. So we have a business. So let's count.
Honorable members, let me make this very clear. On the matter of adjourning with debate has been settled already. That has been settled. We are not going back to that because there was a question and we voted, and the motion carries the vote. So therefore, the matter of you people debating is a settled law already. That I will not entertain. But it's just a matter of entertaining your processes of your democratic rights. You cannot undo that, not today. I myself, not today. No, you cannot bring a motion. No, there is a motion already. No, you cannot do that. I will not accept your motion. Honorable members, please, there is division, let's vote. Those in favor of the motion, raise your tax. Those Deputy Majority Leader and members, those in favor of us adjourning, sign, die, raise your tax. Those against the motion, raise your tax. Those against the motion, raise your tax. Member for all Yundum, I don't know why. You are the Deputy Majority Leader and you are the OIC. No, no one blames you. You are the OIC. This is democratic principles. They can blame you. Abstention. Those abstaining. Honorable members, I allow this process to go, and whatever the outcome of the results I'm going to use, I was going to use powers vested in me by the standing orders, but let me read the results. The result is as follows. Ayes 16 votes, noes 7, abstention 1. The ayes have it. Honorable members, as I said, it's important to follow due process and procedures. I was going to use Order 16 to adjourn the Assembly Sunday if the result was otherwise, as per the earlier motion move. So we have to be patient and tolerant and allow process to continue. This Assembly now stands adjourned Sunday.